Alright, so one of my mutuals posted this thread and it's asking, what's more powerful, the Zeo Crystals or the Lights of Orion? And a lot of people were saying Lights of Orion, and I'm just like, you're wrong. But anyways, let's get right into it. Now, the actual answer is that the Zeo Crystals are more powerful than the Lights of Orion. And you know I don't like to waste any time, so let's get right into it. First and foremost, if you want to have any conversations about any nerdy shit, you gotta know your source material. So for starters, we're gonna start off with Power Rangers Zeo, the comic book. A lot of people are gonna say the comic books are different from the TV show, but that's false. The comic books are the direct tie-in to the TV show. The only comic books that separate themselves from the television show is the newer runs that came out in, like, I think 2016. But anyways, let's get right into it. This is issue 1 of Power Rangers Zeo that came out in 1992, I believe. Now, Catherine, aka the Pink Ranger of Power Rangers Zeo and Power Rangers Turbo, she said herself that the Zeo Crystals have more power and gave more power than the coins ever did. And I know we're talking about the Lights of Orion and she mentioned the crystals, but hold on to that thought, I'm gonna get to it later. Now, part 2 of this conversation, there's just one key difference between the crystals and the Lights of Orion. Now, Lights of Orion is energy itself, but the Zeo Crystals are minerals that contain energy. Now, with the Lights of Orion, it literally personified itself into armor to give the Power Rangers a power-up, basically. But the Zeo Crystals are actually more powerful because of 2 reasons. 1, the Zeo Crystal energy are actually morphed inside of each Ranger. And number 2, the energy from the Zeo Crystals give them direct access to the Morphin grid. Now, that's gonna fly over a lot of people's head, but what I just said is actually insane, and I'm gonna repeat myself. The energy from the Zeo Crystals give you direct access to the Morphin grid. That's insane. Now, I'm gonna give you the origin story of the Zeo Crystals, but there's 2 different origin stories, the one from the TV show and the one from the comic books. Obviously, I'm gonna give you both so you guys have full context, but let's talk about the Zeo Crystals from the TV show first. In the TV universe of Power Rangers, the Zeo Crystals come from a planet called M51, I believe. Now, an unknown and an unnamed ancient race decided to hide the Zeo Crystal on Earth in the Cave of Deception. Now, in one of the story arcs of the Power Rangers Zeo, after Tommy defeated Master Vile, I think his name is, Tommy and Saba actually broke the crystal into pieces and scattered it all over the place so that nobody could find it and so that it's protected. Now, after the Rangers fought Master Vile for the 2nd time, he obtained an orb that could turn back time. And because time was turned back, the original Power Rangers turned into kids. But the only person who didn't turn into a kid was Billy, which is the Blue Ranger. Now, to save the original Rangers, Billy and Zordon actually found these scattered pieces of the crystals that were scattered by Tommy and Saba in the first place, put the crystal back together to, you know, bring time back to its normal place. After everybody came back, Zordon was just like, you know what, I'm gonna split the crystal again, but I'm gonna merge it within each Ranger. But the thing is, there was only 5 pieces, but 6 of them. So Billy was ultimately left out. Now, I just told you Billy is no longer the Blue Ranger, and you're probably wondering why he's in this picture. That's because in this picture was set in events that were like after the TV show. Now, let's talk about the newer Power Rangers iteration. Now, if you want to read along, this is from the comic book Mighty Morphin, issue 8 specifically. And if you're looking for this comic book, don't type in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because they're going to give you the 2016 run. So just type in Mighty Morphin and that's it, and you'll get this. Now, this takes place 10,000 years ago, and the reason why I'm putting so much emphasis on 10,000 years ago is because you're going to need that information for what I'm about to say later on in the video, so stick with me. So, 10,000 years ago, Zordon and 2 of his friends, they're considered like the guardians of something, I forget the name, but he's telling the origin story of the Zeo Crystal. Now, long before that, there was a dragon beast called Vatara, and he was basically feeding on Morphin energy, and Morphin energy is actually the one thing that fuels, you know, the universe. But long story short, there was a cosmic warrior named Zeon, and so he ended up defeating the dragon beast with the crystal. And when Zeon died, his soul and his energy was embedded into that crystal, therefore regenerating the Morphin energy into the universe. Hence the reason why it's called the Zeo Crystal. Now, hopefully you can see why I think the Zeo Crystals are more powerful than the Orion Lights since you have full context now. There's more reasons why I think the Zeo Crystals are more powerful than the Orion Lights, Number 1, Jason as the Gold Ranger is top 5 strongest Power Rangers of all time, and he comes from Power Rangers Zeo, so that alone should say a lot. And number 2, my boy Tommy, the GOAT. Not only was he the White Ranger, the Green Ranger, the Red Ranger, the Black Ranger, he has the Master Morpher device, which is the device that he could use to transform into any Ranger he was previously before. And fun fact, a lot of people don't know this, but a piece of the Zeo Crystal is in the Master Morpher that is yielded by Tommy himself. Number 3, the Zeo Crystals actually get more powerful over time. And that's why I put so much emphasis on the 10,000 years ago part, because the Orion Lights didn't get birth until 3,000 years ago. But the Zeo Crystals were curated 10,000 plus years ago. So they had a lot of time to cook. But like I said in the beginning of my video, the Orion Lights is just a form of energy that's personified into armor to give the Power Rangers a power-up. And one thing to note with this conversation is that there's a difference between yielding an energy source, and there's one thing to, actually having that energy source within you. And like I said before, the Zeo Crystals are actually morphed in each Ranger, which is so insane to me. But anyways, I know this was a long video, but I just get too excited when I talk about Power Rangers. But I just had to get it all out there to give people full context on the difference between Orion Lights and the Zeo Crystals. Obviously, you know the drill. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want, my stitches and duets are always open. I'm so sorry for how long this video was, but again, I just love Power Rangers. Y'all know my motto, stay woke, have a great day.